I'm directly on the west coast of Canada. Bright sunny day here. Sort of a different story for the people in the east coast today, as Hurricane Irene is expected to hit New York at approximately 9 p.m. Now there's a lot of theories, especially in the alternative sources, about the nature of this hurricane. And it's very understandable. I too am questioning this deeply. Whether or not it could be and is generated by humans. It is the case, for example, even in the Vietnam War, Project or Operation Popeye, wherein clouds were seeded with aluminum dioxide, I think, and this was used as a methodology to create cumulus clouds, form them, or augment them in such a way that there was more rainfall over a particular trail, and therefore causing greater amounts of rain through the typhoon season. And in essence, this is weather warfare. And people do and have been for a while now getting degrees in weather augmentation through geoengineering. So this is not unreal. This is the case. Michio Kaku says, this is the sign of, I think it's a level 3 society. They can control the planet. Level 1, I believe it is. They can control the Earth's weather patterns. Now, I'm not going to say that we can do that perfectly, but it is and has been known that through, spraying chemicals into the air, you can augment weather patterns. And furthermore, HAARP has been speculated about, and again, even itself has been called potential war, means for warfare. In its Aurora research is primarily, at least its official purpose is for auroral research or electromagnetic research, but its scope apparently through electromagnetism, so its potentials are much greater than this. Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura does a fairly decent job of documenting this possibility. There's an interesting little clip from Addams Family that's floating around on the internet. I think it was started by Kemlin. And it's about, Fester has a book that has Hurricane Irene on it. And, this was a movie produced probably 10 years ago. And he opens the book, and his parents are there, and he's mad at his parents. They had just recently done a heist of some sort, and Fester's using the hurricane to get rid of his parents. He says that they were bad parents, and he blows the parents out of the house and into coffins, which can very well be symbolic in the sense that the husband and wife, the Addams family, husband and wife there, and Fester, if you think of them as sort of the elite, they're sort of in it together, and they have the doubloons, they have the gold. And then the mother and father, there's another number of possibilities. You can think of the mother potentially as, Mother Earth, whereas, Fester's now had control over the weather, and he's getting rid of the old systems of Earth's control, and now he's taken control of it. And it could even have dual symbology, as mother is the general average mother human as well as the father, and they're sort of in it together up to this point, to some extent with the money situation. But really, it's Fester that has the doubloons, and that he can get rid of them so that he can have it himself, as well as the two Addams family people. And so they're the Gothic, right? They're kind of presented as those that are worshipping darkness. I mean, so there's a lot of symbology that's potentially inherent in something like that. If, for example, there was foresight into the potentialities of weather modification and the plans therefrom instituted in the future. It sounds very far-fetched, and understandably so, but the more research you do into these sorts of things, the more plausible something like this can start to sort of seem. And so if this were the case, what would be the fallout sort of what might be happening in New York tonight and a few days hereafter? So we know that quantitative easing 3 has pretty much failed. There's not really anywhere that they can go as far as the Treasury and manipulation of the accounting figures on the books, because they've recently lost their AAA credit rating. Many countries are buying up global gold stocks and getting out of the American dollar, and there's even the potential that the American dollar will lose its central reserve currency status. And so they just don't really have anywhere to go as far as augmenting the accounting books at this point. So it would be a very interesting move in the sense that New York is sort of the locus, the very central point of the global planetary banking system. And so you bring it down, you might cause a banking holiday for a number of days over whatever size this hurricane is. It may not even turn out to be that massive, but it's used as an excuse to put the banking system on hiatus for a number of days, which causes sort of a domino effect, as it were. But it's scheduled, and that's their requirement. They need to know and guide it such that the direction in which it's wanted to go, that is to say, the banking establishment themselves. So, I mean, my fingers are crossed, and my heart is going out to those New Yorkers at this time, because it could be quite dramatic. All the media outlets are pumping it as going to be dramatic. It is the case, I've heard, that the water is 3 feet from the surface level at this time, which is like, in other words, the tide is very high. We've had recently that earthquake, which was strange, I think a 5.8. And that was just not far from some nuclear reactors, which is also potentially a disaster waiting to happen. So when you couple, sort of a nuclear fallout potentially with rising tides at a very high level with a massive hurricane, it could be disastrous. And it could be planned, or it could be nothing, and I don't want to fearmonger. But I do hope, given the historical trends of people in power to manipulate and control situations for their own purposes and intentions, this is real, and we're, I think, well suited to take that as the reality, or rather, preparations with this knowledge in mind seems reasonable. Be well, everyone.